Hi all, welcome back. It's been a while, but I finally got a couple more SAGA battle reports for you. I was invited along down to POR, which is a gaming club down in Plymouth, the Plymouth Association of Wargamers, to have a go and practice with some of the armies of the Crescent and Cross. So I went down with my Anglo-Saxons and had a really good time. And this is battle report number 1 of 2, which I had on that day. This is the Saracens versus the Anglo-Saxons in a game of Battle Twilight. So we've got the new terrain setup rules, and that means I managed to put some terrain on the board for a change. We're actually playing on a 4-foot board as well. It's advised to play on a 4-foot board at 6 points. I got first turn to set up, and I set up towards the centre to try and capture as many table quarters. The idea of the game is to hold more table quarters than the opponent. At the end of each turn, you work out if you've got a table quarter. To claim a table quarter, you need more than 2 points than the opponent in that section. Points are worked out depending on your units. These are called conquer points. I believe it's 3 for a Hearthguard unit, 2 for a warrior unit, 1 for a levy unit. Units made up of 3 or less don't gather any points, so small units can't go around grabbing. And I think that's it. My opponent, on the other hand, all seemed to have bunched up in one quarter, which played to my advantage really here, because that meant I could spread out. You can't see my levies down the left-hand side in the trees there. Just a quick look at my opponent's army. He's got 2 Hearthguard units here. Yeah, well, 2 Hearthguard into 1 unit of 8. Obviously mounted. In the background there, the guy with the falcon, that's his warlord. He's got 2 little 4-man units of warriors. It's 1 warrior unit split into 2. And with each of them, he's got 2 fire pots in each as well. They're a new mercenary unit. They fire with up to 3 shots apiece, with +2 to hit, so they're quite dangerous things, but on a roll of 1 there's a chance they hurt themselves. And you get no cover bonus against them, so that's going to be interesting. Over here we've got his warrior unit that's mounted with bows. I didn't take a photo of it close up, you'll see some more later on. On the left hand side there he has got a unit of levy archers. Also in this row everyone starts with a point of fatigue, and that's it. So we get ready to go, and my opponent goes first. So over here on the left hand side he moves up the small 4-man unit, which also has 2 additional naphtha throwers, I think that's correct, in it as well, and has a go at my levy. So the player can choose between 1 and 3 attacks for each chap, and my opponent went for all 3, so 6 shots into these guys and managed to kill 3 of them off. Rolled no 1s, and he was hitting on 2s with no advantages for cover. So that was quite painful. And not only that, if you take any damage from it, you gain 2 additional fatigue markers. So that's my levy on the left, exhausted. He does the same thing with his other little unit of warriors with the 2 naphtha throwers against my centre block, but I get off a bit lightly here and only lose 2 guys. But then again, I gain 2 more fatigue, and these guys are exhausted. And then over here on the right hand side, he throws in his Hearthguard unit, and that was a full unit with 16 attacks or whatever. But in the new rules now, you do always get to start with your 3 dice on the battle board, so the first player doesn't have all the advantages. And I'd gone with some defensive advantages, but then decided against it and went all offensive. In this game, I didn't mention before, you actually play without without number. So anyone that's killed from the warriors, Hearthguard or levy units can form a unit and come back at the beginning of your next turn. So I didn't mind taking the casualties if I could do some damage on here and giving them a non-scoring unit, which is what I achieved. And over here he also charges his warriors into my little 4-man unit of warriors. Again, I go for all-out attack, knowing that I've lost 4 warriors one side, 4 warriors the other side. I'll be bringing back an 8-man unit at the beginning of my next turn, and I'll be quite happy with that. So out of my 4 attacks, I managed to kill 2, so I'm quite pleased with that. And with his 8, he wiped up my unit of 4. Now the only other problem here, I end up with 2 more fatigue on another 1 fatigue on my warlord, another 1 fatigue on that other unit there as well. So at the end of the turn it looks something like that, and as you can see I've got a lot of fatigue on me at the moment. In my turn I bring my new unit of Two, two, three. Well, at 10. I must have lost. Oh yeah, lost a couple of guys to the napster throwers. So I actually managed to get a big unit on, which was quite nice, and charge them straight into this levy. Do a couple of casualties and lose one in return. And that's all I really did, because I needed to get rid of some of my fatigue. So what I played in my turn was, I think it's called Stout Hearts, and played it with the helmet, which is a 6. That allows all my units to count as being +4 stronger for Saga abilities. And I also play Truce, which meant that any unit that doesn't get activated this turn will lose 1 fatigue, or 2 if it's made up of 10 or more. So on here, most of my fatigue is gone now, and I'm feeling a little better. So, on my opponent's turn, on this side, he does his old trick again and opens fire on me. This time I don't suffer any casualties, but unfortunately he does roll a 1 and loses one of his napster throwing chaps. Yeah, that's what's happened. I'm just trying to work it out, make sure I've got that right there. In the centre he goes for another 6 shots again and managed to knock off 3 of my guys. But luckily he also rolled 2 1s, so he lost both his napster launchers from that unit. Over here is unit of archers are activated and shoot into my guys. By the way, he played the ability which allowed him to activate 3 units. I get to choose one of those 3 units not to be activated and put a fatigue on it, and he's free to use the other, activate the other 2 units. In which case, I believe I put fatigue on his unit of 6 Hearthguard, which had just come on the board edge, and he activates these guys. And also with that ability, he activates these warriors to head into my warlord to try and kill him off. And my warlord did his very best there and managed to take out all but one of them. Yeah, I spent his fatigue to lower his armor. He tried to lower mine. Didn't get anything through. He got got 1 through, but my resilience saves it. And yeah, left with 1, which was perfect. But then, like an idiot, just remembering I needed to score some points, I thought I'd drive this last one off. But to be honest, I'd have been better off leaving him alive, because he can't actually capture any table objectives. Although he generates Saga, it will reduce the amount of warband he'll be able to bring on in a minute with the endless warbands room. So, my turn, it's kind of looking like that. As you can see on that top left-hand side there's another 4 unit of warriors. I've decided to bring some warriors on there. With them and the levy unit, that's 3 points in that quarter, which means I know I've got that quarter. But luckily, due to his self-flagellation of his napster guys, that unit's down to 3 anyway, so I didn't have to worry about it. And I've still got this corner down the bottom. And over on the right hand side, I seem to have that quarter as well, because he's only got 1 unit of levy, which is 1 point. And I've got 2 units of warriors, which is 4 points, so I'm winning by 2. And here at the end of the turn was my highly technical device for recording scores. And this is Ralph himself. He's the guy that organised the whole event. It was nicely done. There was 8 of us down there. It was good fun. So many thanks to Ralph there. And at the moment I have 4 to Ralph's 2 for table quarters. And so all I need to get is 2 more, and I've won the game. So with that in mind, Ralph now knew that he had to get rid of my chance of scoring 2 points. And brings on his warrior raiders here. Full 8 of them. See, if I'd left the other one, he would have only had 7, which would have been easier to deal with, because the other one scored points. But that was my mistake. But he comes along the board edge like this. They all draw arrows from their quivers, knock them, and then open fire on my poor warriors at the top there. They all managed to come in and all be in range. And holy crap, he'd used I think it was 2 abilities was added into this to make sure he doubled up on the amount of shots he got off there, and it definitely paid dividends. That's 6 guys I lost. I have not seen shooting like that, except for facing Normans, so that was quite impressive from 1 unit of warriors there. He also moves his Hearthguard down from that top corner down to this bottom one to make sure he can claim this quarter. But unfortunately, it was a bit of a faux pas on his half, which meant for my turn I could just move my warriors northways and go into his table quarter he's just moved out of, and he's got no point scoring unit in there at all. So with that, unfortunately my opponent could have no way of stopping me getting the other 2 quarters, and so we shook our hands at that and left it at that. I didn't have another go because I was going to get my 2 points whatever happens with Ralph unable to get the 4 he would require, or 3 he would require to get the 6 points. Just to finish off, a couple of close-up shots of the Warlord and the Hearthguard that you didn't really get to see. I really enjoyed that scenario. It was a fantastic scenario. It was completely different to the other scenarios from the Dark Age book, and it felt really good. You really had to decide because you had to split your army up so much. I thought my opponent going first was going to be a huge advantage, but thinking about it, going second, you get that last chance grab. The without endless warbands rule, also great fun, especially for my army, is a huge advantage because mine are pretty much all warrior. So whatever he killed could come back and form a unit because they're of the same type and of the same equipment. So yeah, brilliant little scenario. Really enjoyed it. I mean, I was running units of 4 and 6 men, so I'd never normally do that. But this scenario, to grab the table quarters, you really have to do that. Unfortunately, my opponent hadn't read the scenario and seen what needed. I mean, if it was me, I would have really broken down both the Hearthguard and the Mounted Warriors into 2 units. Then he's got more grabbing units, even leaving the Warriors in 1 unit. But when they were destroyed, bring them back on as two separate units. Just so you got more points there trying to grab. So there wouldn't have been much to do. I could do to catch up with those guys. But other than that, great scenario. Really liking the Crescent and Cross book, and I hope you'll stay on to see the next one. So until next time, guys. Farewell.